Hello and welcome to another episode of Word Up with me, Bronagh Diamond. I'm a really good friend, Emer Maguire. Emer, tell us a wee bit about yourself, love.
Bit about myself. Well, I'm a comedian. That's how we met.
She is indeed.
I do musical comedy, so I do kind of comedy songs.
Yeah.
Observational type stuff. And apart from that, what else do you want to know?
What were you doing before you became a comedian? Tell us all.
So before I was a comedian, I was doing kind of science communication, science talks. And before that, I was a speech and language therapist. So I had a proper job.
Yeah, what we're saying is Emer is a genius. Like, she's a
Definitely not.
highly intelligent woman who has decided to very fucking
Do a job that makes everybody think you're stupid.
Yeah, isn't it mad whenever people, like, you tell people you're a comedian and they're like,
oh, right, you must be dumb.
yeah, what do you really do?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they don't realise even
They're
the
like,
amount
what's your real job?
Yeah, but it's great.
But it's a skill. Like, I always think to be a good comedian, like, you have to have a way with words. Like, you have to be intelligent to a point, like, have good observational skills. Like, so whenever people are like, oh, you're just a comedian, because people say to me, like, you've got degrees and you've got masters and you've got all that, like, and you pick comedy, and I was like, comedy's the hardest of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, go stand in front of a room of 500 people and make them laugh. That's way harder than writing a paper or seeing a patient. You know?
It's true, because you can hit delete on papers and you can...
Exactly.
I
can't
do.
hit deleting your patient.
Yeah, you're standing there up to the microphone, you go, actually, backspace.
I know.
Forget I just fucked that up.
It's
and listen
way
again.
harder.
It's weird, because, like, you know, yeah, like you say that, I loved my degree in terms of, like, I love a learning environment where you're sitting and I love writing an essay and getting into shit and reading things and referencing and doing all that. But there's nothing quite like the buzz of standing in front of people going, I'm going to make you laugh. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's totally different.
Yeah.
And I think, I remember my mum came up to Belfast to see me one time, but that's when I was working as a speech therapist, and I hadn't finished work yet, so I got her taxi from the bus depot to my office, and she came in, and I was like in my, you know, like hospital uniform and like
looking all smart.
doing a report and all this here. And then my mum said to me after, she was like, I told her then a few months later that I was going to leave my job, do comedy, and she said, well, I didn't say anything at the time, but that day that I went in and you were in an office doing a report with a uniform on, I felt really, really sad because it wasn't you. She never told me that at the time. You know what I mean? But she just said, she was like, it's a great job, but I just felt really sad. Like, that's not what you're meant to be doing. And I thought, you're right. Like, that is true.
Oh my
I thought that was like a nice observation. Not that she shared it with me at the time, you know, but I just thought, that's exactly
She
right.
didn't
I'm
walk
not meant
into
to do
you
this.
doing your professional job looking all neat going, okay, Emer, I'm miserable for you
No.
right now. You know,
What a sad little life,
for the
Jane.
best.
No, she didn't do that.
I love that. Every time I'm feeling a wee bit meh, I watch that clip of Come Dine With Me.
I love it too.
Well, I hope you're happy with
You've got the decorum of a reversing dump truck.
Yes. It's funny though, because I had a similar sort of moment with my mum.
Yeah.
Where I studied government and criminology in university, and I, you know, whenever I first went, because I thought I always wanted to do drama, and I thought, no, you know.
Well, so that's the thing. I wanted to do music. And I was
Didn't
like,
have the balls in a way. I was like, what if I fail? Do you know what I mean? And I remember sitting in a taxi and having this overwhelming feeling of depression, thinking, why am I doing this? I mean, I can do this, but I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So there was a long story short, I went for the interview up in Derry and got in.
Did you go to McGee?
Went to McGee, yeah.
Lovely.
And did you go to McGee?
No, but I went to school in Derry. That's
I
up. Well, I'm from
love-
Strabane, not Derry, but
yes.
that's up my neck
I
of the
loved
woods.
it. Loved Derry.
That's brilliant.
It's just a fucking brilliant city.
That's class, aye.
And whenever I found out that I had got in and whatever, I told my mummy, I had said, look, mummy, I was like panicking because I thought she was going to kill me because she was so proud that I was going to university, and I thought I was going to be letting her down by saying, I don't want to do this course anymore. And I went here, I want to change courses. I need to go. I want to do drama. And she just looked at me and went, well, thank God. She was like, I have always said to you, like, you should have been doing this.
Mothers
do you know what I mean?
know.
They
Like,
just know.
They know. And I think they just, like, sit back and let you make your own choices. But they know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just an instinct. And I think sometimes people think, oh, you know, maybe a parent will be disappointed if you do an arts or you do a music or you do drama or whatever. But, like, if I had a kid who was, like, an amazing actor, amazing musician, and they picked, like, economics, I'd be devastated.
It's a waste, isn't
like,
it?
what are you doing that for?
Because it is that whole, like, adage of, you know, not doing what your heart, you know, like, tells you to do. Like, put it this way, Hitler always wanted to be an artist, didn't he? So do you think if he had to get into art school and he had been a really successful artist, he would have been such an absolute cunt monster?
Possibly not.
You
I
know,
think that's a good point.
I think whenever you're like,
You never know what could have happened if you kept doing
never
government
do.
and whatever.
Like, there's
You
not
know?
exactly.
You wouldn't be sitting here.
I could have been fucking up and storming,
Mental.
doing nothing, getting paid for doing fuck all. It would have been great.
I know.
But I just think, like, everybody, even whenever I thought I was going to be Augusta Boal and I thought I was going to work like theatre of the oppressed and have everybody, you know, real good intentions, because I do truly believe, like, that, especially in really underfunded areas, like, kids just really shine whenever they get to do something creative. You know, we are creative people. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Emer,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
I think you can find kind of the parts of any job that you'll be good at something in it, or parts that you like. Like when I was a speech therapist, like,
Why am I giggling already?
I loved. So I worked with. I started off working with half the time with kids and half the time with adults, and I loved working with the kids and their parents, and I loved working with the adults. I love working with older people, just because I grew up pretty close to my grandparents and stuff, and I just loved it. But I hated the work, but I loved the people.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I would go to these houses, and there was this one patient I had in particular, and it was her and her husband, and they're both, like, in their 80s, and their daughter. And, like, we were just laughing the whole time. And they were like, oh, you're the funniest person we've ever met. And I was like, I know. And they were like,
I love that.
they were like, why are you a speech therapist? And I was like, Jesus, well, I don't know, because I'm not particularly good at it, you know, but I loved meeting people and talking to people. And since I left speech therapy, like, I've had patients and patients' children come to my shows and be like, you should have been doing this. Do you know?
Really? The whole time? Like,
which is so nice. So I think in any job you can find what you're good at. So, like, I was good at the people side of it and, like, bonding with people, getting on with people. But I was so bad at everything else. Do you know what I mean?
Anybody with a speech impediment, they were going, just spit it fucking out, will you?
We're like, come on. I have to
What are you trying to say?
20 minutes set here.
Come on here. What's the punchline? You'd be a terrible comedian.
No, but it is kind of like, you can find like a bit of crack anywhere, but if you're not suited to it, like, I couldn't wait. Speech therapy is a great career. And it's a really important job, but I couldn't wait to get out of it because it wasn't for me.
Yeah,
do you know?
definitely.
I'm not.
You can be miserable.
Therapist.
You can be miserable doing somebody else's dream job. Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and I was miserable.
I wouldn't have the fucking patience for it, to be honest. Like, speech therapy.
You do need patience.
Do you know what I mean? And did you never have anybody with a really, I want to say, funny speech impediment? Anything that would have made you laugh?
Jesus, no, because even if I did, I couldn't say yes. But I didn't, because I had sad stuff. So, which I also found very hard and very depressing. So the kids were grand, like, they were good crack, but then as I kind of moved up the ranks, and to move up, I had to go and choose kids or choose adults. And the first job that came up at a higher grade was adults, so I went for that. Then I worked in brain injury, neurology and neurosurgery.
There's not much funny there, like.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Like, trying to tell jokes in those words, you know what I mean? You'd be disciplined for inappropriate
I know
conduct.
some comedians would do really well in those words.
But it was so sad, because, like, when I was working with the kids, like, you're working with kids to improve what they've got, but the people I was working with, a lot of people don't realise, when you work as a speech therapist, a lot of your work is to do with people who can't eat and drink properly. So people who have dysphagia, people who have swallowing problems. So a lot of your day is sitting watching someone who's very ill or close to death choking.
My God.
Do you know what I mean? Which is
That
scary
is grim.
and depressing, and, like, watching them fail away. And I just found it really, really
Do
depressing.
you take it home with you then? you know.
Yeah, and you know, it's always, or say people who had, you know, awful conditions like MND. There's this thing where it's like it's always the nicest people for some reason get MND, always the most dead on people, and you're thinking, like, I'm here trying to help you to eat and drink, but you know you're going to be gone soon, and things are only going to get worse for you. Like, it's so sad. But
there's no job satisfaction.
There is no job satisfaction. I was like, I'm not even good at this, and it's so depressing. But there would be a bit of job satisfaction if you say got somebody a wee bit closer to their baseline, or if somebody had a brain injury, they've been in a car accident, whatever, and you see those people slowly getting better.
Yeah.
But overall, I found it really depressing.
Can I just say something though? I was gonna make a comment on how you do find a terrible lot of comedians that have like mental health problems, including myself. So we do tend to. Some of the funniest people I know are fucking clinically depressed.
Yeah.
But do you not think, like, tell me why you didn't go into the family business then?
Well,
tell me what your dad does.
So my dad is a funeral director, an undertaker. I would have gone into it 100% if I hadn't gone to uni, or if I hadn't been like particularly academic. So
if I was really stupid and had no other opportunities.
Exactly. So if I was my father, I'm joking, Dad, you're a very smart man.
Stop it.
No, so I probably was, like, I went to a very academic school, and you went to uni, like, there was no other option. Like, even the fact that I went to Jordanstown for my undergraduate was very much frowned upon. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like, it was very academic, and there was no option to not go to uni. So I never even considered that as an option. But as I did speech therapy and stuff, like, I kind of got more and more interested in what my dad did. And I went to Queen's then, to the medical school, and did a master's in anatomy.
Did you?
Yeah, but I kind of got that interest from what my dad does, because he's an embalmer and an undertaker. So he obviously has that interest.
Do you live at your dad's work, or is it like Amityville?
So I think people think, like, you know, you sleep in one room and all the bodies are in another room or something in a funeral home. But
hello, say more.
You kill him, we tell him. Or crematorium, you kill him, we grill him.
Oh my God!
Sorry,
God forgive you. I wasn't involved in that, fella. So no, we don't live in the funeral home. So I think it was like an old-fashioned thing, and some families do live in the funeral home, but we don't. We never have. And we live.
Does your dad have a really good sense of humour? Or
yes.
Is he like quite?
I mean, you have to know him to know but he has, like, I think he's got a really good sense of humour.
Right.
He's very, very, very dry.
Oh, yes.
He's kind of like, I know when I introduce people to him, he'll say things, and I know they don't know
that it's
whether to laugh or whether to be scared of the funeral man. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Like, he's so dry.
Yeah.
But I think he's very funny.
Did he ever see, like, did you ever have, like, when you were growing up, did it ever become a thing where, like, people would say to you in the street, like, oh, your daddy's embalmed my granny, or...
You have no idea. You have
really?
no idea. Yeah. It would be like, so I used to work in Asda, you know, when I was a kid, and I would be doing, like, beep, 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 and people would be like, well...
On the decks?
Yeah. You know, Asda, coming over the intercom, 2 for 1 Cocoa Pops, beep, beep, beep.
The chicken is freaking fresh.
People would be like, who's dead this week? Do you know what I mean? Or, is your father doing the funeral of so-and-so? And I'd be like, I'm trying to work here, but Mary from Lansdowne is dead. People would always ask, you know, and see...
2 for 1 Fridge Fridays. If you die within 3 weeks of your wife, we will give you a discount.
There's nothing
Be
like
people.
Old ones love more than flicking through the obituaries in a paper.
I love it.
Oh, see... RIP.ie, funeraltimes.ie, oh my God. People love them, right? Yeah.
It's like the front page of Reddit.
I know. And
my ma follows one on Facebook.
Oh, Geraldine's dead.
Ireland.
Geraldine's dead. She's an old bitch.
Do you know
you can't say that now that she's dead.
You can't speak ill of the dead, but
she was an old bitch.
That's where you get the best stories. Oh, we shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but And you find out everyone's flaws in 5
everything.
minutes.
And she had an affair with him, and she was lying with him, all that their stuff.
All their
Donna Lane.
People would always ask us that. And one of my core memories as a child is we went to the Strabane pantomime, right?
Right.
Mr. Bantaman.
Oh, very good, John. Very
They need
good.
to rename it that.
Give that man a star.
And they were doing, the dame is there, the man dressed as a woman and all this here stuff, doing the funny bit. And somebody died, and I was a kid, and like it was full. So to me, it was like we were in Wembley Arena, because it was St. Pat's Hall was filled with all these Strabane people.
Somebody died on stage.
I will not actually. I mean, a character died, right?
Yeah.
The stage died.
Oh no, they didn't.
Very good. Oh,
Put
yeah.
them on here. And the main character goes, "Oh Jesus, where's Jude Maguire when you need him?" And I was like, "Oh my God, my dad's famous.
My daddy's
like,
famous.
My daddy is famous."
He get mentioned.
And everybody laughed because obviously he's a local funeral. But when you live in a small place like Strabane, everybody
Wow.
knows. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought, oh my God, everybody knows my dad. Like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And I thought like my dad was like a celebrity, like a death-related celebrity. Do you know
Everyone's
what I mean?
dying to meet him.
And people always say, so people come and say, "How's your fella?" And I'm like, "Guys, grand." They're like, "Nobody wants to be meeting him too soon." Or, your father was looking at me and I think he was measuring me up for a cut. All this here stuff. People always say it, or people say like, "Oh, that's one man you don't want to see coming." And every time I'm like, because you've heard it every time. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So people do, but also people will say like, "Your dad buried my mother," and do you know my dad's chat up line to my mum?
What?
So they met. They were young, obviously. My mum was in her 20s. My dad was maybe a bit older. And my dad said to my mum, "I buried your Aunt Eileen." That was my dad's chat up line. And I mean, it obviously worked.
I buried your Aunt Daly.
That's a
your Aunt
good
Eileen.
Edinburgh Fringe show name.
That really
I
is.
buried your Aunt Eileen.
Yeah. My dad will bury you.
Yeah,
Oh
that was his chat
my
up line to my mum.
God.
And like, I mean,
It
married and
worked.
4 kids. Oh, it definitely worked.
Oh my God.
Do you
She
know?
was like, "Well, mate, you did a great job. You
I know.
You dug
So,
a good hole. Terrible good." So he was terrible good. Oh my God. I fucking love that your ma went. And that was the man I married.
I know, I would just be like, that's very novel. Like, points for originality. Do you know? I think that I would respect that.
Yeah.
Do you know, but maybe there's something wrong with our family.
But then again, maybe that's how Jeffrey Dahmer got people into his house. You know what I mean? Like, that sort of thing. They're like, oh my God. It just fascinates me. Like, I could sit and talk to you all day. Like, absolutely. So we're going to do this until 10 o'clock tonight, Emer.
Excellent. So I have nowhere to be, sure. I left my job.
Did you leave your job?
I left my speech therapy job.
Oh, you're totally gone now,
Totally
yeah?
gone. Left about 2 years ago.
Happy days.
I know, so I'm
Fuck those. Do you know
unemployed now.
Do you know what that reminded me of before I tell you the word of the week? My brother's friend has a bad stoppage in his speech. And
Like a stammer?
Yeah, like a stammer. And I didn't know. I didn't know this.
Did you just think he was quite quiet and never talked or something?
He got into the car before and I said, "Oh, well, what are you doing this weekend?" And he went, "Just shelling out." And I thought that he was just having a laugh, like being overly lackadaisical. And I went, "Ooh, just shelling out."
Oh my
Do
God,
you know
I
what
would
I mean?
die on the spot.
I
I'd
went,
open the door and roll out
"What
of
are
the
you
car."
doing? Are you keeping cool?"
Oh my God.
And our Adam turned around to me and was like, "Bronagh, he has a stammer."
I would
And do you know whenever you just want to actually curl up
don't wanna
into
die,
yourself?
yeah.
where you can actually feel your head shrinking into your fucking torso. That's
That is
how
awful.
I felt.
Oh my God, that's the most
I was
horrible
just
thing.
like, "I'm so sorry. I apologise
know.
for how I is."
But it's like the way you kept going. Like,
I just kept going on and on and on.
Oh my God, it's awful. I was on the phone one time and I was on like the waiting list for a speech therapy job, and the girl, the connection was well bad, and it kept breaking up, and I said, "Would you mind saying that again? It's just there's an awful connection. Like I keep getting this." Right.
No, you didn't.
I did. I swear to God. Now,
Did you actually do it?
Yeah, and I did it like that, like. And she was like, "Oh, sorry about that," and it kept happening. I was like, "Look, I'm gonna need to call you back on another line. Like I can't hear a thing." I realised towards the end of the call she had a stammer, and I want like.
You were looking at speech
It was a
therapy
speech therapy
job.
And she probably
No
thought,
wonder you quit that
Jesus
job.
Christ, she's not getting a job. She
Yeah.
can't even tell. I was mortified. I've also, when I was a speech therapist...
I think I actually farted there when I laughed.
When I was a speech therapist, I got into a taxi one time and I was going to work and I was going to health centre and the guy was like, what do you do? But he had a really bad stammer and I was like, I'm a physio. You know, because I was like, I'm not telling this poor man because he's obviously under pressure already.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm not telling him what I do and then giving him fucking £5 at the end of this journey. He should be fucking paying me. Do you know I often think that as well sometimes whenever I used to get taxis. And I would have this sort of game where I would like go where I'm not going to say it. I was talking about this with Connor actually. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to ask him what time he's on to. I'm not going to ask him if he's been busy. I'll try and...
It's like Tourette's, you can't help it.
Yeah, you can't help it. But I used to like, whenever I get into taxis, like you say, whenever you love meeting new people and you're having banter, and I would have like really fucking awesome crack. And... I was like meeting this guy, was dating him, and we were getting a taxi, and I was having a laugh with the taxi driver, and he got out and he went, do you ever think to yourself, they should be fucking paying me? And that's how I get into stand-up comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Right, do you want to hear the word of the week?
Sure.
Yes, go for it.
Which one?
I'm just putting my phone on airplane mode because clearly the child has been picked up from school.
I don't know what this one means. I think I know what this one means.
Right, well, don't you guess that one because that's not yet.
Damn. Froward?
That was it?
Froward?
Froward?
When I came in, I saw it sitting there and I thought, oh, but poor girl's dyslexic, she's must spell forward.
And you didn't even tell me.
No, I don't want to embarrass you and draw attention to your disability.
No, fuck.
Froward?
Froward.
God,
It
that
actually is Froward.
Froward?
Yes. Any...
Is it I mean, I've no idea what it means, but is it related to like to and fro?
It's like, you
Is
know,
it related-
people with a speech impairment.
Froward. Froward.
Is it related to like motion of sorts?
In a way, it's like an old English word, but it means it's of a person.
Of a person?
Yeah. So
Froward as in someone who's very forward, someone who's...
opposite of forward in a way, but
Oh, someone who's shy.
someone who
Like
is
myself?
very difficult to deal with
Oh, not like
or
myself.
contrary.
Oh,
So
someone who's a contrary Mary.
Contrary, we fuck.
Yes.
Yeah, so like
Someone
there's
who's a wee bit odd.
somebody who's a bit strange.
Aye.
Somebody who's a bit fucking difficult. Whenever I think
Froward.
of Froward, I would
I like
think of
it.
Froward customers. Like Froward, like irate customers, or people who are just awkward as fuck.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Or
I know exactly what
That's
you mean.
very forward.
difficult. Do you know what I mean? You know those people that you don't want to go for your dinner with because they make a scene, and you go, "I'm embarrassed. I'm never coming back here again."
Yes. Kind of particular and odd.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I
Do you?
know.
Like I was a waitress for many years, obviously, and
Where?
I loads of places. So
I was a waitress for a weekend.
Were you just one weekend?
I got fired.
Where from?
A place,
Name and
that, a place that shall not be named. It was in Strabane.
Was it in Strabane? When it was stress shite. Farnar Emer.
I know.
Fuck them bitches.
I know.
But whenever you're waitressing, you do meet a lot of forward people, right?
Yeah.
And they're just so difficult. They're there to be difficult. And the most forward customer I ever had was when I was extremely busy one day and I was working and I was like the only waitress on for that period, you know, because it
Yeah.
was meant to be a quiet time.
Yeah.
But this massive table of 30 people came in. It was
What
like
kind of food?
an impromptu, like gastropub
Nice.
type
nice.
thing, like lovely food. It was the Hunting Lodge. I'll give them a shout out. And big group of like 20 or 30 people. I'm a liar. Actually. It was only about 13 people, right? Which is a lot.
I couldn't serve one or two, so I'll be stressful.
So it's meant to be like 2 waitresses per 10 people at least. So it was an impromptu. There were lovely, lovely people. They tipped well. They were only out of work and somebody was leaving, so they decided to come in for some lunch. So I was like, right, that's fine. I can do this. I'd only got like 2 other wee small tables. And this woman came in with, well, she was a young woman, do you know what I mean? And she came in with a man and a woman, and I was like, look, I'm really busy right now, but if you want to take a seat, I'll get you a wee drink and I'll be straight over to you. So I had this, was really fucking rushed off my feet, and I come over and I said, would you like the order? And you know, whenever it's the most inconvenient time, it always has to be the worst customer, right? Like, whenever you're really busy, you'll get people who'll come in and sit down at the one dirty table.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Do you know what she asked me for? She asked about every item on the menu, despite the fact that she'd been looking at the menu for a good 15 minutes, right? And then I was like, right, I'm trying to be patient, but like, I'll come back to you.
Yeah,
You know, holding loads of dishes and all. I'll come back to you. Sure, have a wee look. And she went, she had like a Ballymena accent. So I think that's what's prejudiced me against a kind of Ballymena accent. Like, not right now, but for years after it, I couldn't stand it. She traumatised me. And she was going, tell me this. I would like a steak, hey, but I want the steak like with. Can I have a steak rare? And I went, yes, of course. Obviously, yeah, absolutely, a rare steak. She stopped me as I was walking away, and she went, okay, so I want it rare, but I want it with no blood.
You're like, so that's not rare, bit.
Yeah, I was like, so that's an oxymoron of sorts. And you're just a fucking moron. Like, so I actually thought, I was looking around for candid cameras going,
Who is it?
she's winding me
That
up.
is so infuriating.
She is winding. Can I have a rare steak with no blood? I said, there will be blood. There will be blood in your mouth.
Can I have a cheeseburger with no cheese?
Yes.
Cheeseburger, hold the burger.
So she was probably the most forward
That is
customer.
See, I think I'm a bit of an accidentally forward customer.
Go.
Because, I'm not, like, if I go into a restaurant, I'm nearly embarrassed to be there, to put anybody to any trouble. But
I'm so sorry, I'm hungry and I have
I'm
money.
so sorry, could I have some food?
Yeah.
Pay your wages. But I am so picky, right? And so particular. And this will be shocking to people who can watch on camera, but I am a very picky eater, do you know? And like, I go in and see the way you're like a cheeseburger, no cheese, like that's me. Do you know, I'm like, can I have, there'll be like, you know, a chicken panini with gherkins and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, can I have the chicken panini with nothing on it? Can you take this out and can you replace this? And I know I'm so annoying.
You're doing the showbiz thing?
Yeah.
You'll never order off the menu.
And I'm just like, you know, when my family are with me, they're like, we're so sorry. And then the person comes over, and again, I'm like, you're going to hate me. You're going to hate me.
Yeah.
But I was out for dinner with my mum and dad and my brother last week. And the girl brought me. I wasn't there when they ordered, right? But they're all big starvos. So my brother was like, we're ordering before you get here. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the menu, and there was salt and chili chicken with fries.
Yeah.
What are fries?
Wee skinny chips.
Thank you. So mine, everyone else, they got chips. Mine arrived. I don't like chips, but I like fries.
You like wee fries. There's a difference. There is a difference. Yeah.
And so my salt and chili chicken arrived, absolutely beautiful. And then a bowl of chips arrived, and the girl was on the way down. I was like, I hope to God they're not for me. You know, but you make a sound.
I know, it's very dramatic being out, isn't it, with a crowd of people? It's like, Jesus,
I hope they're not mine.
Do you ever see whenever somebody's bringing your food down as well, you feel like you shouldn't look at them?
Yes, you pretend
in case
you
you
don't
look
know
too
it's
hungry.
you.
You're like, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Quick, there's our food. Come and talk about something.
Talk about yourselves.
Yeah.
So she put down these chips, and I got like really flustered because I was thinking in my head, oh God, I'm going to offend her or something. Like, I don't want to make a scene. But I couldn't really get anything of sense out. So I said to her, what are these? My brother says, here we go. Right? And she said, they're chips. And I was like,
what are these?
I said,
That was the most corporate, like, CEO, like...
what are these?
What
But I was trying so hard to not.
What the fuck do you call this?
What is this shit you're serving me? But it's because I was trying so
Meryl
hard
Streep.
not to be offensive that I got so flustered. So I was, what are these? And Sean goes, oh my God. And she said, well, they're chips. And then I said, well, I can see that they're chips. And I thought she's like, well, why are you asking me what they are? And I said, but would you, are they your fries? Because I thought then maybe she thinks that they are fries.
Yes.
So I thought semantically she's maybe confused.
Yeah.
So I was like, would you call them, are they fries? And she says, yeah, I guess. And I said, but how can they be fries when they're chips? You know, my parents were like, so then
you are froward as fuck.
I know. So then I said, look, I ordered fries, and she says, no, it's chips. And I said, but here's a photograph of the menu that my brother sent me, and it says salt and shallot with fries.
With fries.
Yeah. And I was like, and my brother said, look, could you take those away and leave the fries? Just bring her fries. And I said, yes, fries are actually the little thin
French
fries, yes. And she said, do you mean skinny fries? And I thought,
are you taking the piss?
well, fries are fries.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Fries are by definition skinny. You know, they are fries. So then she was like, right, okay. She says, well, sure, I'll leave those chips. You can eat those chips anyway because they're here.
Yeah.
And I was like, but the point is I don't like chips, so I'm not going to eat those chips. But she left them anyway. My brother immediately reaches over, puts them on his plate, and I was like, now she's going to think I lied. She's going to think I ate those chips.
She's going to come back and say, that greedy bastard just wanted fries as well as chips.
Then she came back. I am really froward, actually. Then she came back and I said to her, I am so sorry. Could I trouble you for some garlic aioli? Right? Then she brought this down, handed me this pot. It was green. And I was like, what is this? Have you ever seen green garlic aioli? It looked like guacamole. Have you ever green?
She's brought you fucking guacamole.
She's brought you guacamole.
No?
Right. And I was like, I can't do this. And
Did
then
you
I asked
actually?
her,
What is this?
what is this? Garlic aioli? And I was like, it's not. And then I asked her, could she bring me vinegar? She did that quite well. She's very proficient.
But she brings the balsamic vinegar.
I know. But then I couldn't use the garlic aioli because to me it clearly wasn't garlic aioli. But then I had nothing to dip my fries in. So I was like, I can't eat those. I was all my parents. I was like, I'm not eating those fries because there's nothing to dip them into.
Oh my God.
So then I was all, Mum, would there be any ketchup? My mum was like, excuse me, can we get some ketchup? Can we get some? Because I think
Ketchup emergency!
They thought I was going to have a fit. And then I only ate about 4 of the fries, and my dad was like, you'll eat every one.
Or I will be burying you.
He was like, you made such a fuss about getting those. And I was like, but I didn't say how many I wanted. Like, I just wanted what I ordered. So I don't think I can go back there. And I think I was incredibly froward, but I was trying so hard not to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get so embarrassed because, like, I know I'm such a fussy eater.
But it's
really
fine.
picky.
In that instance, I mean, yes, did the waitress think you were a froward wee fuck? Yes.
Yes. But was she not educated on chips versus fries?
Chips versus fries,
I
man.
think for a waitress that is very
You should really
I
write your
think
opinion
here
on
it's a
that.
bigger problem than like in America. Like, see here, there's sort of like an attitude of just, fucking just take what you're given. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see, like,
all chips are fries, but not all fries are chips.
I would agree.
But see, when I went over to America, there, like, see the hospitality at, like, you know, the waiters and waitresses, like, they would do anything
Yes,
for you, because like they're
me and my dad talk about this all the time. We do not know service over here, like, and this is coming from somebody who has served in the army. No, but like, you know, whenever you see like in America or whatever, it's like, yes, ma'am, can I get you anything? You're totally right. Here you go. Would you like some glitter with that? Da 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 da. Can you imagine all them Americans getting off the cruise ships over here and walking in, about to drop a dime, spending loads of money in a shop, and we're like, do you want a wee pack for that or what?
I know. It's nearly like
40p.
In some places here, if you go to order something, it's like,
fuck's sake.
right.
A customer.
You're like, this is your job. This is not what you're here
We
for.
need to up our game. We need to be more like the Yankee Doodles do.
Yeah,
do you
but
know what
I
mean?
understand, because I think it's not kind of integral to us, because my experience of being fired as a waitress, I was hired in a Strabane establishment as a waitress when I was 16. Right. As far as I knew, it was, you know, a long-term job. And I went, and my first weekend was my training, and then I'd be on officially. And I wasn't... Is there an opposite for, like, a duck to water? Because I was whatever that was. I was just horrendous. Oh. I had no skills.
You were as green as the grass.
Oh my God. And I remember the first thing the girl said to me to do, she said, could you go fix that table? So I went over and I was underneath the table, like looking at the table and all. And I went over and I said, there's nothing wrong with the table. And she was like, no, fix it, like, set it up. And I thought she meant the table was broke and she wanted me to fix it. And I was like, I didn't know that was part
You had a hammer and a fucking chisel
over,
and
and I was
everything.
thinking, is she stupid? Like, she expects me to fix this. I've no tools. Like, I was over thinking, like, what the hell? So I thought, right, I'm off to kind of a bad start. And then, like, I'm a spiller. I'm a dropper.
Yeah, me too.
Like, things just got worse. I was trusted to bring, like, a cappuccino out to somebody. They didn't like the look of it. They sent me back in with it. But I wasn't, like, accustomed to those swinging doors. So I was holding, and the door swung and hit me, and the cappuccino went all over me.
Scalded.
And I was just constantly in everybody's way. I was so bad at it.
Bless.
Whenever I was trying to take people's orders, like, I was shaking. Like, I was so scared. I was just terrible at it. I know,
Emer.
it didn't have any
It's okay.
human skills whatsoever. I was terrible. And then on my second day, my second shift, the girl was like, took me aside after it, and she was like, I'm getting the feeling that you would rather not come back. I was like, what? I was like, I don't know what I've done to give you that impression. Because I was trying so hard, and she says, no, I think that we can both agree you don't want to come back. And I was
Look
like,
into my eyes, not around the eyes.
look into the eyes, 1, 2, 3, and I was like, what? And then she says, so I think, she says, I would agree with you. I think it would be, like, she was trying to convince me it was my idea. She was gaslighting me, 16. And she was like, I think it would be for the best. There's me and me. I was like, I've just spent a bomb on this fucking waiter's outfit.
I think you want to break up with me, and I would totally understand that.
Yeah. So she was
I
like,
don't want to break up with you. See, I get it. I agree with you. You do.
That's just what you
she's
think
saying.
right
She's
now,
like,
but I know you do want to break up with
I
me.
feel that you just would rather not come back, and I would agree that that's the best course of action. And here's your pay for these 2 training days, and please don't come back, thank you.
Oh my God.
And I had to go home and say to my parents, like, oh, I decided it wasn't for me. And she took it really well. Like, she took, but I was
Was your
like,
man Dan not like, the wee fucker quit?
I think they knew.
They knew.
I think they knew.
But and technically, they should have trained you there. They should have went, this is this, this is this. Like, in saying that, my first waitressing job went terribly.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't wait to go. They used to do this wee thing where they would pick a name out of the hat for someone that gets to go home early. And every time they did that...
Every time they'd be like, oh, it's Emer.
It was me!
Oh, it's Emer.
It was me! And I didn't realise until like 10 years later that that's what that was. Like, at one stage I was carrying out this whole tray. Now, don't get me wrong, I got really good at it. In the end, by the time I was finishing waitressing, I could waitress the fuck out of anything. It's not rocket science. It's very easy done. But it is physically demanding, and it is, you have to be good at it.
I think you have to have a lot of practical skills.
Yeah.
And I'd be better at rocket science. Like, I do not have, see things that are easy.
Yeah.
I am so bad
I
at
dropped an entire tray. I do not know who ever gave me this in the first place, because it was fucking simple. All these champagne flutes sitting on a tray, and I mean, there must have been about 20 of them, and I was doing this, carrying it, and I just walked out through the swingy door, fucking enemy, and it just went, and it just went everywhere. And I'll never forget, they were like, oh, I think we've too many staff on tonight. What we'll do, we draw a name out of a hat and see who can go home early. And I was like, oh my God, it's me!
Do you still get
Yay.
paid?
No. Not for the hours I went home. Like. But you know,
That's terrible.
I still have reoccurring dreams that, like, I was supposed to be in work there in that particular restaurant and that I haven't shown up.
But do you think that's legal? Because imagine when I was a speech therapist in the hospital, they were like, we're going to pick a name out of a hat to see who can go home. And they're like, you're not getting your wages today.
Yeah.
Like, that's illegal.
No, I never got it. I was that fucking stupid that I was like, yay, I get to go and
I get to go and not get paid.
Yeah,
I'm
I was like,
here.
I get to go home early. Yeah,
Oh my God.
like fucking
That's awful.
Tool, absolute tool.
Imagine Kurt done that in the house. Like, all right, let's pick a name out and see who has to go for a wee walk for a few hours.
That would do really well, actually. I'd be away like fucking stink.
They were like, yeah, it's me again.
I would. I'd actually be away. Like, you wouldn't fucking see me. But then again, I remember actually, this is how you know you're getting old. Me and Kurt had an argument once. And this wasn't that long ago. Like, and he was like, right, well, I'll just go to the pub then, you know? I'll just go to the pub. He's never done this, by the way. He has never done this. Once upon a time, back in the day, he might have done it to somebody, but never me. Like, and he was like, I'll just go to the pub then. And I knew. He went upstairs to have a shave. And I knew that boy was dreading.
Aye.
He was like, please don't make me go to the pub. I had to go upstairs and go, I'm sorry. Like,
And he's like, thank God.
I'm sorry. And
Gets
I
in the
could
bed.
see the relief in his face. He was like, thank fuck, I thought I was going to have to leave the house.
That's my dad's one when he's like fighting with my man. He's walking out of the house. He's like, I'm away for a pint. And slams the door.
Slam the door. Daddy, does he come back again?
No, he don't.
Fuck
He's
you.
never seen him again.
That was in
21 years
1998.
ago.
It's been 84 years. But you know, whenever I was looking at Froward, there was one word that I went, oh, because I always thought the word ingenuous, right? Mm-hmm. People would often confuse that with like disingenuous, like, or like, you know, ungenuine. Mm-hmm. But ingenuous is actually a word for someone who's like really innocent and easily led. So like innocent and unsuspecting.
I would call them civil and Strabane.
Civil?
He's a wild civil big fella.
Is that what you call them?
Civil? Do you
Get
know
away.
what up on the west here?
For
And I
somebody
thought we
who's
were
just
a kindred people.
a wee bit of a character.
And somebody who's a bit innocent.
Oh, he's civil.
You
like
you
that.
used to
That's
say
really lovely.
simple, but you're not allowed to say that anymore.
Oh, civil's just a really nice way of taking the imp out of simple.
No, you would say, oh, he's wild civil, and it would mean kind of good and innocent and no ulterior motives.
Just agreeable. Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
I think I'd be quite civil.
Well, I think that civil people tend to make for really froward people.
I think you're right, because I don't think that us civil folk,
Use the word.
you know, have any bad intentions. And
Ingenuous.
Yes. So I would be thinking, well, if I ask this girl, what are these? There's no malice behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, you're not going, the fuck is this? What do you call this?
Yeah, and I'm asking,
But you actually said, what do you call that?
what is this?
What
But I was
would you
just-
call
I was just
that?
doing some background research, trying to find out what she knew, so I could ascertain what I knew.
I
she
completely
knew.
get where you're coming from.
100%.
Like,
But I think with civil people or ingenuous people, there's no malice.
there is no malice. And it's
There's
all
no
about your
manipulation.
motive, isn't
Yes.
it? It's all about how it's intended.
intention.
Do you know, like, but see the way, like, we old women can be, I actually don't know how much of it is ingenuous, but they're, like, my mum, whenever she worked in the chemist, there was a wee woman used to come into her all the time and, like, just ask her for different things, and she was that innocent. She didn't have a clue. Like, you know that there was a non-medicine drug for headaches that was released. It was just this wee thing that you rub on your forehead.
It's called forehead.
Forehead.
Yeah.
And she came in and she asked my mummy with a dead straight face for foreskin. And she was like,
Your mum's like, I've just got some back here.
yeah, pull that one back. I would like that foreskin, love. And my mummy was going,
You don't actually sell
what is it you're looking like? What would it be that you're looking? And she was like, foreskin. You rub it all over your forehead. You rub it all over your head.
Your mum's like, yes. Could you be a bit more specific?
Could you be, you know, but those wee people don't realise that they're being forward.
Or
It
that
doesn't
they're
matter if it's
saying-
innocent, but then whenever they like come in the next day and they're going, can you have any condoms? Yeah, or like there was somebody that used to go and buy the scratch cards in the shop that she worked in, and they were really forward because they thought that nobody else was allowed to buy scratch cards. So they would come. I didn't even know this until she told me that there's numbers on all the scratch cards. You know, like they're numbered. Mm-hmm. And this person would come in and go, "Who's been in here buying them scratch cards?"
Because they have to track.
And my ma would be like, "Well, people, you know, Jerry, it's not just you that buys them." And be like, "Well, I bought number 98 and 97, and now that's back down to 50." Like that's a fucking addict there. But
Oh yeah. She's got a system.
yeah, system, definitely a system. Like forward as fuck.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
I like that word. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Forward, mostly about myself.
Not a bit backward about being forward.
Yeah.
Forward.
Forward. I like it.
It is. It's a nice
good
wee
one.
word,
It's a
isn't
good
it?
one.
But you know what, Emer? No matter where you were, I couldn't be angry at you for being forward.
thank you.
Because you're ingenuous.
Did you have to look at the word?
I had to look at it there because I still keep going to say disingenuous, yeah. But I'm trying to. These are words as well. I'm learning with you guys.
See, I think people, like, I would definitely be froward with my friends and like incredibly particular and things like that. But like, I think they know that I'm just a bit of a dope.
Socially awkward.
It's like my brain is sick.
Emer does this fucking hilarious song about being. I love your comedy. I just think it's so relatable, but it's so like. I don't know whether I want to say. How can you say niche and relatable in the same sentence? Because it's just like you're. Everything that you say, if you don't identify with it, if you're not that kind of person, it's still hilarious to look at from the outset.
Yeah.
But if you do identify with it, it's even funnier because you're like, oh my God, I fucking do that. But I don't know why it comes into my head so much, but I think of your ma's well lazy. And it
because I do get, so that socially awkward song, you know, I'm socially awkward, it's like my brain is like, my normal gets blurred when I'm out in public. And it's kind of, because I would get, not in trouble, but I mean, sometimes I do say things that are very blunt or maybe not the thing that you're meant to say out loud, even though it's just honest.
Yeah.
But I am very socially awkward. Like, it's hilarious that I do comedy, but I'm actually much better on a stage with a few hundred people than I am one-on-one. Like, see if you told me to go to a bus stop and speak to a stranger, I would have a fit.
Would you die?
I'd step out in front of the bus. No way.
And then your dad be picking you up?
Free funeral. Like, there's no way. Like, so that there kind of socially awkward song, that gets a pretty good reaction, you know. But those kind of songs are relatable, and I've always been socially awkward. I'm socially awkward. I have a diagnosis of autism. That's why I'm so socially awkward. But see the amount of people that come up to me after shows now and they're like, that socially awkward song, and I'm like,
yes,
you should get assessed.
Yeah.
Somebody's checking you out.
Did you ever actually say to somebody, your ma's wild lazy? Because you have that line in the song where it's like you would turn around to somebody and go, your ma's wild lazy, isn't she?
Like, I would say,
if your ma was lying on the sofa all day.
Like, I would say very overly honest things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't to strangers, but mostly because I don't talk to them. But I definitely would to friends, or you know, I would very often say things and then get looks of, you're not meant to say that, and then I'm like, but it's the truth, and they're like, yes, but not everyone tells the truth, and I'm like, well, they should.
They should. Yeah.
So I would say
that
things
candor.
Like that. Yeah, like an example. My best friend said to me, my sister has a baby, a 1-year-old. She's very cute. She looks exactly like me. And she's nice, right? And I met her once, and she was like, I don't know, 2 weeks old. And I was holding her and all this here, and I really like babies. Like, get on well with them. They don't talk, it's great, and I just really like them. And my best friend says to me, "Och, you love her?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "Well, do you love her? You love her? Do you love her?" And I was like, "No, like, I've only just met her." And she was like, but I was serious. I was like, how could I possibly love her? And I was like, she could grow up to be a Nazi, or she could grow up. How could I possibly say that I love her? I don't want to be committed to saying that. And I was like,
well, I've only just met her, slow down
I've
a bit.
met her once. I was like, sure, she doesn't love me. And she was just like, no, but if you meet a niece or nephew, you automatically love them. And I was like, I don't want to hitch myself to that wagon in case she turns out to be a psycho.
And then it'll be like, Emer Maguire loved her from the very beginning. And she turned out to be a murderer.
Exactly. Emer endorsed her. And I was just like, she was all to me, well, but don't say that to anyone that you don't love her. And I was like, no, but I'm not going out there and saying I don't love her. But when you're asking me and I'm genuinely think of an answer, my answer is, I don't know her that well.
Yeah.
Maybe once we get to know each other a bit more, I might
love her
then.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But I was like, it would be totally false for me to express extreme love for someone I've met once for 30 minutes. And I was like, she was like, but that's what people do. And I was like, but that's not honest. So I would kind of get into trouble for that.
Yes, I see.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I get where you're coming from, though.
Too literal.
But I think that kind of honesty is actually really refreshing and sometimes really helpful, because one thing that I would say to new mothers who haven't had a baby before is don't get upset if you don't get that rush of love.
Yeah.
That everyone, because whenever I was pregnant and everybody was like, you get this rush of love, you just know right away. You're like, oh my God. And I was expecting some like
a burst
transformative thing to happen when they handed me my baby, that I was going to go, oh my God. But it is my first baby, and I had a really traumatic birth.
Yeah.
And yes, whenever they handed him to me, I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
but
so cute.
Then I started going, is this the feeling that I'm supposed to have?
But then a new mum would be like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm not.
Then that started I had to go to CBT because that started this negative thought process.
I think that happens to a lot of new mums.
Where I was like, oh my God. And now what I say to like new mums is, listen, it's at you might get that burst of love. Some people do.
Yeah.
And you do, especially whenever they start getting their wee character and they're doing things and you're like, oh my God, I couldn't live without you.
Yeah.
But I always go, just treat it like it is with a new person. You know that they're really, like, say somebody, they're really important in your life and you do anything for them. But see that feeling, that burst of love, once you get to know them, it'll come. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's more reassuring to know that.
That would probably be reassuring to people, because if you didn't feel that, you'd think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me, or oh my God, I haven't bonded with this baby. Whereas, it's like with my niece, like I've seen her so many more times now, and I'm like, oh, she's great, you know, and I really enjoy her company, all those things. But it's like, I wish more people were honest, because I find it really hard to read people who aren't honest, or who talk in riddles, or who talk in bullshit, because I don't do that. And people always say to me, I have never ever had a show where I haven't got messages after of people saying you're so honest. And I just think, like, that's a weird thing to say to a comedian, but it's true. And my show that I'm doing, that I'm on tour with at the minute, like, I talk about the fact that I had a breakup this year, and like,
did you break up?
Yeah.
Did you and your partner break
Yeah.
up? I didn't know this.
People after talk about, all were coming up to me being like, that's so honest to talk about that.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much. She's not dead. Well, she broke up with me, so.
Right, well, she is dead,
Yeah.
Her loss. Alopecia, it's her loss. I think that's actually Sean Haggerty's one.
Oh, yeah.
So I might actually need to cut that out, in case I'm giving away using Sean's joke. But yeah, I didn't know that. I just think, I get that about this wee podcast. I've had a few wee messages that have been really lovely, and have said about it being authentic. And
that's the word.
You know, because there's no point in greasing over like the way you feel. Like, I could sit here every week and pretend to be somebody that I'm not, and like try and give out all the best impressions of me that I think someone might like to see. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, they know what I'm like.
I would hate that. Like, I hate when you know someone is only. I mean, it's natural for people scientifically to want to put their best foot forward, but I think you can do that without being false. And I have a real thing or a real problem with people being false, because I just think, you know, even if it's comedy or if you're telling stories or whatever it might be, I just think it's hard to connect with people if you're not being yourself.
If you're not, because there's so much bullshit out there.
Oh,
that's like one of those ones. Before I get onto the dirty word, like I love chatting to people, but I hate small talk.
Yeah, me too.
So like I can't
do small talk.
I could talk away to you for hours, but after only meeting you, but it would be like, so here. What was your childhood trauma like, or do you believe in God? Do you know what I mean? But see, whenever people are all like, yeah, the weather has been terrible, and yeah, it's mad about the government, and you're like,
well, see, the thing,
what's your biggest fear?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm exactly the same. So see, if people try and make small talk with me, I don't really engage, because like I can't really do it, or like people, when they make small talk, tell lies. So they'll be like, oh, here by weather's not too bad there the day, and I'll be like, well, actually it's rained for 45% of the day, and I wouldn't call that not too bad. Like,
they're just saying
that's
things.
actually quite bad. Yeah, people just say things to fill the space.
Do you know, I often thought that autistic people would, because I was reading this like Reddit thread before, and there were people on who were on the spectrum that were saying that like they would love to live in certain parts of the world that are more direct, and I always thought like Germany would be a really good place for that.
Yeah.
Because Germans are very economical with their language. They don't waste words on things that wouldn't say what's happening if they didn't want to listen to what's happening.
Yeah.
Just say hello and leave you.
Yeah.
And also that like they're so direct, and there was this woman on that was saying, well, actually I'm German and my husband is autistic and he loves being in Germany.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do this nicety of, no, I don't want that when you do. You just, you know, do you want it or not? Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, that is so true. Like, that's a really good way to look at it. And I think the directness there would be great. Like, see if you, say for example, like, if my best friend, for example, who'll probably watch this, is the opposite of direct.
Hi.
Hey, Mickey.
Right.
And so we clash because I don't know if I'd say direct, but I just answer honestly, and I say, do you know, whereas she would be much more flowery with her language and stuff like this. So if we're somewhere, say we were down at my show the weekend, my parents' house, you know, my mum might say to her, look, would you like a cup of tea? No, I couldn't possibly. So then I'd bring everybody else out tea.
Yes.
And she'd be like, where's my tea? And I'd be like, you said you couldn't possibly.
Said you didn't want
and
it.
she's like, no, but that's what you say. And I was like, no, you say you want it.
Yeah.
If you want it.
Yeah.
Say you want it. There's like, if you're going to the shop for somebody that says, like, no, I'm fine, don't worry about me. And then I come back and they're like, you know, I've got a Chinese and they're starving. And I'm like, but you said you didn't.
You said you didn't. I can be very like that.
Yeah,
Emer.
you said you didn't want anything. But that's very hard for people who have any kind of social communication because
I do have very, very ADHD.
Yeah.
And I often wonder if there was ever a crossover there into the, because I know my son is ADHD and autism.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the time, for example, I if you tell me something and I'm lost in my own world, I will just directly do what you tell me to do, which is quite like, still gets legged about walking down a corridor in school, and I was just do and somebody went, Bronagh, run, and I just ran. Bolted. I mean, down 3
Just
flights
literal?
of stairs, just like, what are we running for?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or no, don't want anything, and I'll go right dead on. But now I've trained myself to be like, no, just get them something anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, just do it. Like, I kind of my love language. I love buying people shit. Like, even if they really don't want it, I'll still get it. Do you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean, but I'm like so literal that if someone says something, I will think, because if someone asks me something, I'll really think about it. So the thing with you, I'll really think about it, and I'll formulate an answer, and I will answer with every fibre of my being, believing what I'm saying. So to me, someone else to say, oh no, or say something flippantly, I'm just like, how can you do that? To me, it's nearly like somebody's telling a lie.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't understand it. So I find that really difficult to have conversations with some people. So I must look up that thing about Germany, because I think that would be really good. Because see the amount of times people say to me, that's just something people say. And I'm like,
but why?
Yeah. Why?
And the Germans have brilliant words for stuff as well. Like Schadenfreude.
Oh, yeah.
That is like one of my favourite. Like the whole notion of taking pleasure in someone else's sadness is fucking fantastic.
Sadistic,
like, just
and
to have that word.
Yeah.
To have great words. Speaking of, do you want to hear the dirty word of the week, Emer? You said you think you might know what this is.
Well, I have an inkling what it's related to.
Okay, go.
Axillism.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I might be totally wrong.
Naughty,
But
naughty.
axilla, well, I studied my master's is
You will
anatomy.
know this, yeah.
So axilla is armpit.
Yeah.
Underarm, axillary.
Yeah.
So is it dirty? Is it a dirty word?
Yeah.
Axillism, it must be like in someone's armpit, being interested in someone's armpit.
You are sexy as fuck, no? Like, isn't she dead clever? Yes.
Armpit related.
It is armpit related.
Yes.
Axillism is, I'll give you the wee short definition first, but actually, no, fuck it. Let's go for it.
Is this from a book you're currently reading?
This is from the Encyclopedia of Unusual Sex Practices.
Lovely.
And it says unusual, not weird, strange, or unnatural. So there you go. We're not judging, kink shaming at all.
No shame.
Axillism is...
Sounds like a movement.
It does, doesn't it? It's true. So, also known as hercusophilism.
Right.
Preference for underarm hair. That's preference for underarm hair. arousal from armpits.
Oh my god.
So it refers to the use of the armpit for sex.
As in, it's included, or it's actually used as the main thing?
It can be both. So
Right.
you can be aroused.
Speaking from
and you can
experience,
have
it can be both. Either, whichever you prefer.
dicks
You've
under
got
the
them out.
arms,
You've
left,
got
right.
them.
So I've got the armpits out. So it says here that this is more common in Europe. This is clearly, is this written by
Okay,
an
well, does that, it's more common in Europe, so does that still include us
women-
since Brexit, or is that...
post-Brexit, maybe? No.
So
It says where women, when was this published? In Europe, where women allow their armpit hair to grow.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah. French people love an old hairy pit, don't they?
And actually, do you remember watching, what was it? Was it American Pie or something? Or European Road Trip? One of those, stupid
Yeah.
naughties movie.
Miss Goosey.
Like 2000. Yeah.
It's
went
always like
over.
in like American films, like French chicks, like
Yeah.
And the really
Yeah.
hairy armpits. Yeah.
Hairy
yeah.
nipples and everything. Oh, Sherry.
Axelism could also be like a religion, like
People
Axl
who-
Rose,
people-
love
yeah, the
people who
worship of
praise
Axl Rose. That's what I was thinking.
You're in the jungle, baby. Welcome to the jungle. We got hairy pits. If you want to lick my arm, I'll show you my tits. I
Sounds
fucking...
like writing this down.
Yeah.
Red
That's the next
Sugar
show right there. But it says here that this area is very sensitive to the flicker of the tongue or the warmth of a... I love this book. Or the warmth of a penis.
Oh,
You might not like that,
I
Emer.
would
It is
not.
very sensitive there. That's like one of the most sensitive
Sean's
areas
like,
of your
it
body.
is very
Do you think
sensitive.
so?
Oh,
You know,
it is,
like,
it is
do-
sensitive.
Do you
yeah.
ever get tickles?
Yeah, there was
I always had loads of tickles as a kid. Like could never have anybody tickle me on the pit.
But
So-
some people really associate like tickles with sexual, like they see it as a sexual thing, so they associate
I
it
think
that
that's
way.
really creepy.
Yeah, it's
is, I
creepy
think
because
it's creepy.
like I would be tickled by my uncles.
Yeah, your uncle loves
Right,
to tickling you. There's that
He's currently in McGabber.
girl who's I've referenced there. Yeah, he's a priest.
Got tickled.
There's a girl on that podcast that I referenced before called Fuck's Given, and she has a tickle fetish, and she actually associates it with. So she thinks that people who tickle children is just wrong, because she's like
she likes
she
it.
sexualizes
Yeah.
it, But there,
I don't know. I like if I saw like a strange man tickling a child, like it would definitely make me uncomfortable. It's too.
well, a strange man
invasive.
shouldn't be tickling anyone.
Tickle. I know, but do you know what I mean? If someone's mate came over and tickled the child, I don't know. I wouldn't want no. I just
be
like,
like,
I just like, why would you want to touch that child in any way? No.
Even at slap and tickle, we better slap and tickle. Wait to hear this. Sorry, I've just glanced down, and unshaven hair is also said to retain pheromones. Well, we know that. The sex hormones that cause arousal when inhaled. Shows your pheromones. But listen to this. The advantages of axillism. Now, I think this is very heteronormative, though. So,
Well, I shall represent.
You
and
shall represent.
Tell you what the homosexual community
the L
thinks
of the
this.
LGBT.
Yes.
The advantages of axillism for men are that of a tight fit, friction against the penis, close proximity to the breasts, and no risk of
But the
pregnancy
tight
or
fit
disease.
depends on how well developed your triceps and your shoulder muscles are, because you'd need to be like.
But even if there was a bit of flab, it would still be a good tight. Like, look at mine. Have you got enough?
No, I don't mean if you're skinny. I mean to be able to hold your arm like that tight against yourself.
It'd be a workout.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, you could assist.
Imagine get into the gym and they're going, now we're going to do some axillism exercises.
that wouldn't be very sexy, right? Because imagine you're standing there and you're like, right, Curtis.
Yeah, like, here.
stand. I don't think that would be very. Is this
It's like you're ordering something from the tiffany.
Is this a rock
I have a 69.
You have to put a fag in your hand. You're like, come on now, Teresa.
Come on, son.
Extra vinegar in those chips.
Stick on me, Barnes.
Sausages.
I'd be some deodorant, like, do you reckon? Be like,
Oh.
in fact, I think that Mitchum,
Also, Mitchum's great.
it is brilliant.
Where would you have to sit?
It says about there being, if it's a shaved armpit and there's stubble, it can hurt the penile tissue.
Would you come at? Would you approach it from
Maybe
behind
it's
or
for
the
like,
front?
have to sit.
it would be good maybe in a porn
I thought you were
situation.
going to say if you had no legs. Because you'd be at that height. I don't know. But obviously you need to have arms.
But if you were in a porno situation, you could get one under here,
and then do some
ski,
sit-ups.
and then do the skiing. You know, but could lesbians participate in axillism? You could still be turned on by the hairy pit. Do you like a hairy pit?
What?
I have no judgment for whether people have hair or no
Shaven
hair.
or non-shaven?
Are you thinking like?
I mean, I'm
flap-on
not particularly interested in armpits generally.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that. Like, say if I had male relatives and they had hairy armpits, like that turns me a bit.
Yeah.
But then that's maybe because I'm
Not into males.
not into males.
Yeah.
Because I know other people like body hair on males, but they just, to me, they have so much of it. Because obviously, if I am thinking, oh, girls, there's not really anything.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't imagine ever being attracted to an armpit.
Yeah.
Like, because what would be sexy about it?
Although I
That
have
would
to
be
say,
like
And I don't
cleaning
know
an
how
old
you
brush.
could engage.
You know, like cleaning your floor brush with a wire brush.
But I don't know how lesbians would. I mean, you could.
scissor with the armpit? No.
Then you've got a fag.
But that
in
would be
your
like. Do you
face.
remember when you were
Yeah.
wee and like older men used to make that noise?
Older men? I thought that was young boys like Bart Simpson.
You want some tickles? So I don't know. I suppose you could role play it, or you could. I don't know. You could lick it. I don't know.
But either way.
But I wouldn't want to lick someone's armpit because like it would taste like deodorant. It'd be very chemically.
But Curtis's
Probably
went deal free,
carcinogenic.
and I have to say, there's something about. I do get the pheromone thing though, because some people's natural smell is just sexy.
I do like the smell. Like I like the natural smell. But a boy going deodorant free, he's not very sweaty.
It actually, he's not.
He's less sweaty.
He's
Oh my
less
god,
smelly.
is it a conspiracy? Did the deodorant make you sweaty and then you buy more?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh my
It actually
God.
does work like that. But here, we're going to go over to the Patreon for a quick one because I know that I'm keeping you, Emer, but I could talk to you all day. Do you have anything coming up that you want to pitch? We are going to be
We're
together
doing a show.
in the...
Not in that way. Not in a axillism thing. Well, you never know.
We
could try.
We're going to be in the Deer's Head on the 8th of November, which is going to be great crack. So if you want to come and see myself and Emer, 2 for 1, come to the Deer's Head on the 8th of November and get
It'll be
in
great.
there. Horse it in there, Cynthia.
Horse it in the it'll be brilliant. Yeah, I'm on tour.
Are you on tour? Where are you touring next?
So I've done Armagh and Strabane, and I'm going to Newry and Derry.
Happy days.
And
Derry
my
will be
last
brilliant.
one, can't wait. It's in the Nerve Centre in Derry. But all the start of November, and then my last one is Belfast Mandela Hall,
Happy
18th of November.
days.
So
I will share, if you go on my Instagram or
Yeah,
on,
please do.
I'll share Emer's tour dates and also follow her on Instagram and keep up to date with her because she's funny as fuck.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Emer, for coming on.
No sweat. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Do you want to do another dirty word for the... Come over
Okay.
to the Patreon if you
Sure.
haven't signed up already. Go on, sign up. Sure, you know you want to.